Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Supreme Council for Planning discusses the performance of Omani economy, indices of gross domestic product and the inflation rate. A seminar by the National Center for Financial Information stresses that the Sultanate is free from any terrorism financing or transferring money to extremist groups through its lands. And the United Nations hails the Sultan's safe environment measures to protect the ozone layer. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos received a cable of thanks from His Excellency President Ramnath Kovind of India in reply to His Majesty's cable of thanks on him being elected as the new President of India. The performance of the Omani economy indices of gross domestic product and the inflation rate top discussions of the third meeting of the Supreme Council for Planning. The Council also discussed the performance of Muscat securities market during the third quarter of the year. It as well discussed the steps and procedures taken for the approved strategic projects and challenges that faces the implementation of some of these projects. The Council also highlighted the available alternatives of the fund's projects. The meeting reviewed assessment of the performance of the year 2016 for the 9th Five-Year Development Plan 2016-2020 in light of the international and regional price variables in global oil markets. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masood Al-Sunaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry and Vice Chairman of the Supreme Council for Planning. The records of the Sultanate were free from any terrorism financing or transferring money to extremist groups through its lands. This was announced in the seminar by the National Center for Financial Information in the Governorate of Muscat. During the seminar, it was revealed that most of the cases forwarded by the public prosecution are related to money laundering. The center also works with 10 government bodies to perform its work efficiently. The seminar also witnessed a visual presentation where the participants got acquainted with the specialization of the National Center for Financial Information, such as receiving and analyzing information related to money laundering and financing terrorism, as well as dealing with government and non-government bodies in the Sultanate to keep up to date with the latest developments. Developing and enhancing the judiciary system related to the labor market and qualifying and training workers in the field of labor disputes are the main goals of the cooperation program signed between the Ministry of Manpower and Higher Judicial Institute. The program includes training and qualifying 45 individuals, mainly the eminent judges of the labor departments, members of the public prosecution, and a number of those who deal in the research and settlement of labor disputes, as well as follows the initiatives of the labor market and employment laboratory in the national program for the promotion of economic diversification in an effort to develop means and procedures to resolve issues among disputing parties in accordance with the laws and regulations governing the relationship and expedite the adjudication of the cases submitted to specialists at the Ministry of Manpower or courts affiliated to the Ministry of Justice. The Sultanate, represented by the Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, celebrated with world countries the International Day for Preservation of the Ozone Layer, which falls on the 16th of September every year. The Sultan's celebration of this day coincides with the 30th anniversary of signing the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. The United Nations, during this special event, hailed the Sultan's safe environment measures to protect the ozone layer. The issue of ozone layer has drawn international attention in the last few years due to its vital role to reduce the harmful ultraviolet rays entering the Earth's atmosphere. The world's countries on this special occasion are working together to find successful and effective solutions to gradually decrease the environmental and industrial causes that affect the ozone layer. The United Nations, in one of its programs on environment, praised the Sultan's procedures and role towards preserving the ozone layer that was affirmed by Engineer Khalid Khalali in charge of policies and enforcement at the United Nations Environment Program. The shares of Oman Qatar Insurance Company in Muscat Securities Market reached 25 million. The company clarified that the Omanization percentage reached 85%, one of the economic level the company will contribute positively in the performance of financial market as the insurance sector during the last 5 years witnessed a great improvement. After the current step by the Oman Qatar Insurance Company, the investment opportunities are also accepted to increase. Setting up specialized units in some courts to ensure quick resolution in the drugs issues and public money issues were at the core of discussions between chairmen of the Supreme Court and their eminence, heads of the first instance courts and heads of the General Assemblies of the primary courts and first instance courts. Discussions also touched upon topics related to the judiciary work to help the facilitation of carrying out procedures which aim to bring liquidants to their rights and easy means. The meeting reviewed the necessity of reselecting specialized judges to study and resolve the issues according to the circumstances of each case. The meeting was presided over by His Eminence Sheikh Dr. Ishaq bin Ahmed Al-Busaidi, Chairman of the Supreme Court. Still to come in our news bulletin. The second round of the Research and Innovation Award in the field of water is announced. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. China today called on the international community to adhere to the United Nations Security Council resolutions in dealing with North Korea instead of creating side issues, responding to the reporter's question on U.S. warnings of a tougher response to North Korean provocation. Spokesman Lu Kang said at a regular briefing that some parties kept sending threatening messages, both in words and deeds, that include warnings of the military actions to each other. Earlier, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley warned of a tougher U.S. response to future North Korean provocations, saying that the Security Council has pretty much exhausted all its options and that she would be happy to return the matter over the Defense Secretary Jim Mattis because of the plenty of military options. Kang's remarks came a day when the U.S. military flew advanced bombers and stealth jets over the Korean peninsula and near Japan in drills with South Korean and the Japanese warplanes. International Atomic Energy Agency Director Yukiya Amano has been officially appointed for another term. The delegates of the annual IAEA General Conference currently underway in Vienna approved his appointment unanimously. During his speech, Amano called the latest nuclear test carried out by the North Korean extremely regrettable. but they stated that the UN nuclear agency remained ready to return to North Korea as soon as political developments allow for this. Turkey's military said it has kicked off a previously unannounced drill near its border with Iraq as the semi-autonomous northern Iraqi Kurdish region prepares to hold a referendum on independence. The military said the exercise, a show of force ahead of the vote, started today near the town of Silopi, close to the harbor border gate between Turkey and the Iraqi Kurdish region. Turkey has a large Kurdish military and is battling Kurdish insurgents. It is opposed to the Iraqi Kurdish moves for independence and has urged the Iraqi Kurdish leaders to cancel the vote. The military said anti-terror operations in the region would continue at the same time as the exercises. The Iraqi Kurdish referendum is scheduled for September 25th. British police are still holding two suspects in custody over the London subway blast as the commuters head to work today in the first morning rush hour since the attack. The two suspects are an 18-year-old refugee from Iraq and a 21-year-old believed to be from Syria, both of whom were fostered by a British couple. The 18-year-old was detained on Saturday at the port of Dover, and the 21-year-old was held later the same day in Hounslow, West London. Police are searching 3 addresses, including the suburb home of the Penelope and the Ronald Jones, who have served as foster parents for more than 200 children. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said the charges had been brought against either of them. Meanwhile, authorities have reduced and the terror threat level from critical to severe, meaning they no longer believe another attack is imminent. But officials said the police would continue to see an increased police presence around London. More than 200 towns and villages across western Romania were affected by a sudden storm yesterday, which left 8 dead and injured around 140 people. The storm ripped off roofs and uprooted trees, with winds gusting up to 100 kilometers per hour. In the town of Zalău, the streets were littered with debris from damaged buildings and tree branches. Residents said it was worse they had ever experienced. Romanian Premier Hinai Turos traveled to Western Romania today after President Klaus Iohannis criticized authorities for failing to warn residents about devastating storm. Reviewing a number of matters of mutual concern between the Sultanate and Korea were the main aspects of talks between Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Khalid al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces, with a delegation of National Defense College of Korea currently visiting the Sultanate. His Excellency Masahisa Sato, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs of Japan, and his delegation, who are on a visit to the Sultanate, toured around the Museum of Sultan's Armed Forces, where they were briefed about the historical manuscripts and miniatures showcasing various architectural arts of the Sultanate. They were also briefed about the development witnessed by the Sultan Armed Forces. Third Global Patient Safety Challenges concludes its sessions with the signing off the final act of the third challenge themed Medication Without Harm with the World Health Organization member states. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rabai.
The Regional World Health Organization WHO Third Global Patient Safety Challenge for Eastern Mediterranean region concluded today at Sultan Qaboos University. The event included signing the final act of the third challenge themed Medication Without Harm by the WHO member states. The final act stipulated the commitment and support of the WHO member states to a strategic plan set up by the WHO and seeking to reduce damages caused by unsafe use of medicines by 50% during the 5 next years. The health minister signed the final act that asserts the Sultan's commitment to strengthening the health systems to reduce drug errors. The challenge, which launched by the Sultanate represented by the Minister of Health and Sultan Qaboos University in collaboration with the WHO, witnessed a large participation from the WHO Eastern Mediterranean member states, including the Sultanate, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Egypt, Syria, Somalia, Tunisia, Yemen, Sudan, Djibouti, Iraq, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco, Pakistan and Afghanistan.
The Sultanate of Oman has suggested to the ministerial meeting last year held in London to have a World Patient Safety Day, and this suggestion came out based on many studies and data that have shown the importance of really making one full day in which people will be made aware about the importance of patient safety in our healthcare institutions. So the countries attended that meeting last year in London have supported the Oman suggestion. It has been taken this year in the second ministerial meeting in Bonn, March this year, by all countries. It's going to be discussed in WHO meeting next year, May, to be officially approved. But in spite of that, we have decided to celebrate this day today for the first time. And it will continue, inshallah, sharing the experiences and the successful lessons that we have really made during the last few years on patient safety.
The Global Patient Safety Challenge on medication safety will facilitate and strengthening of systems and practices that can initiate corrective action within countries to improve patient safety and decreases avoidable harm related to medication. From Sultan Qaboos University, I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
The Research Council and Sultan Qaboos Higher Center for Culture and Science, in cooperation with the Ministry of Education, announced the inauguration of the second round of the Research and Innovation Award in the field of water. The award aims to strengthen the existing role of the Research Council and support the innovative initiatives that aim to find solutions for water issues. It is worth mentioning that the award is divided into 2 categories. The first one related to the scientific publishing and the second one related to the innovations in the field of water. The Research Council mentioned that the candidacy requests for the award are presented during the period from 18th to 31st of September and through the website of the Council. The Chief Executive Officer of Central Bank of Oman said that the Omani Rial is not under any pressure in the global financial market. Meanwhile, the meeting of the Arab central banks in Abu Dhabi clarified that despite the decrease in oil prices which affected the market negatively, the Omani Rial still preserves its value. The Ministry of Higher Education issued a decision to establish the National College of Automotive Technology. The college shall have an independent corporate body based in the Governorate of Muscat and subject to the regulations, laws and decisions of the private college and institutions in force. The founders will be given 6 months to complete all the academic and administrative requirements of the college until the decision to start the study is issued by the Minister of Education. The college will receive Omanis and foreign students of the General Education Diploma according to the provisions determined by the college. Oman Air won the Golden Excellence Award in Social Responsibility during a ceremony by the Arab Organization for Social Responsibility in Egypt. This honoring came as an appreciation of the initiatives by the Sultanate's national transporter in academic fields, scientific research and environmental aspects, in addition to its efforts in social responsibility. Now for the general weather focus around the Sultanate. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of scattered rainfall over the Herjar Mountains. Winds will be southerly to southwesterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Supreme Council for Planning discusses the performance of Omani economy, indices of gross domestic product and the inflation rate. A seminar by the National Center for Financial Information stresses that the Sultanate is free from any terrorism financing or transferring money to extremist groups through its lands. And the United Nations hails the Sultan's safe environmental measures to protect the ozone layer. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.